We're inside 2 months left in the regular season, 43 days, 158 meaningful games. And here's the biggest headline. There is no dominant team right now in the NBA. 6 teams can legitimately say they're the best in basketball, and none of them feel bulletproof. And let's run it, starting with the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah, defending champions, still first in the West. They are very deep. They play very good defense. They close out games, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is neck and neck in the MVP race. They also have a very good chance at winning 60 games again this season. However, they're not the 24-1 Oklahoma City Thunder anymore. San Antonio has beaten them 3 of 4 games, and the remaining schedule is brutal offensively. Denver twice, Boston twice, New York twice. Also, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has not played since the 3rd of February with an abdominal strain, and that really has mattered.
Number 2 team that could potentially be the most dominant team in basketball is there's 6 of them that might be able to do it. Denver Nuggets. I mean, they have the highest ceiling in the league. I mean, Nikola Jokic is averaging basically a triple double again. Jamal Murray is healthy and he's playing his best regular season ball. And if they're whole, nobody wants that matchup. But the problem is they're not whole. They're very fragile. Worst defensive numbers also among contenders, 116 allowed. 3-6 in their last 9, and they have the toughest remaining schedule in the NBA, a 543 opponent win percentage to finish the season. This might come down to a 3 head-to-head games with OKC deciding both the West and the MVP.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you look back in the East, the Detroit Pistons. Yes, the Detroit Pistons. Best team in the East. They've been the number 1 team in the East since November. They're 7-2 against Boston, Cleveland, New York. They're 20-7 against teams that are over 500. And Cade Cunningham is playing like a genuine MVP candidate. However, have they really been tested? They have not seen a Boston Celtics team at full health. Their 14 games remain. They in 14 of their remaining games are on the road. We'll know by the end of March if they're real. But right now, with Detroit, with their history, their recent history, just feels a little too early to crown them the best team in the East right now.
Cleveland Cavaliers seem to be the wild card. They added James Harden, and he's gone past first. We'll see how long that lasts, which unlocks Donovan Mitchell, who they're trying to keep during the summer. They have the easiest remaining schedule in the East with a 453 opponent win percentage. So those are all the pros of the Cavaliers potentially unlocking their chance to be the best team in the NBA. But the cons are they're still chasing Detroit and Boston in the Eastern Conference. And Evan Mobley has to show up offensively. He hasn't been there in the last handful of weeks. If Harden truly buys into the role that he is currently playing, they could be one of the most balanced teams left in the East and one that can make a run to the NBA Finals. But you got to worry about the Boston Celtics if you're the Cavs.
Yeah, absolutely. The most fascinating team so far in the league. They're second place in the East. They're on a 50-win pace, and they haven't had Jayson Tatum all season. Jaylen Brown has elevated to MVP level consistency. Joe Mazzulla might be the coach of the year. They've survived this season without their best player. However, Tatum is coming off of Achilles surgery. This isn't a sprained ankle. This does change the chemistry. And if he comes back seamlessly, I think right now is the big question. They might instantly become the favorite if they do. If it's awkward, it could possibly derail all of that momentum. And I know it's really odd to think of your best player coming back, breaking up the chemistry and derailing your whole season. But if you haven't played with him all season long, he's got to get into the swing of things with you guys more than you have to get into the swing of things with him. And that's looking like where it could go for the East, but the West has a very big surprise.
When you talk about the NBA MVP category, and we're going to get to that in a second, we talked about the other 2 teams in the Western Conference, Oklahoma City and Denver. But there's another team that's still lingering around. That's the San Antonio Spurs, and they are the scariest team right now. They have now won 9 straight games, 3 wins over OKC. Legitimately believe they can win it all. And with Victor Wembanyama and him playing like a defensive player of the year lock and creeping into MVP conversations, it really sets up the Spurs to be part of this conversation. We're talking about SGA, we're talking about Jokic with the Nuggets and with the Thunder, but Wembanyama and the Spurs can not only infiltrate the Western Conference, but also add Wembanyama to the MVP race, which is something that's very scary. Now, here's the reality check, though. They haven't overtaken OKC yet, even though they've beaten them 3 times. They haven't been in the playoff pressure games yet, and they're ahead of schedule. But are they really ahead of the experience? That's going to be the big question for the Spurs. And as of right now, Frank, it's still SGA versus Jokic again for
Yeah,
the MVP race.
it does look like that, and it literally might come down to just 3 games between those 2. Nuggets versus Thunder, March and April, national TV, same floor. SGA, 31 points per game is elite efficiency, best team in the West. Jokic leading the league in rebounds and assists, nearly a triple double, a double average. Here's the twist: SGA's hurt right now. Jokic can only miss 1 more game to remain eligible to win MVP. So if Denver closes the gap in the West, there's a very good chance that if Jokic plays the rest of the season, he could steal that MVP award.